LGBT campaigners in Dublin have made sure the Pope is met with a sea of pride flags. Hundreds of thousands of people will welcome Francis during his whistle-stop tour of the capital city and County Mayo over the weekend. Blue ribbons were tied on the Halfpenny Bridge over the River Liffey in Dublin city centre in a symbol of solidarity with victims and survivors of clerical wrongdoing, which has rocked the Catholic Church in Ireland. The distinctive pedestrian span was also awash with rainbow flags and purple umbrellas supporting the ordination of female priests. The demonstration was styled as a welcome to the Pontiff, rather than a protest. Those taking part held placards with the message, "Justice for abused women," and decried vile language used about members of the LGBT community by some in the Catholic Church. Tourists in this popular and busy part of the city centre gathered to watch. The gathering happened just a couple of minutes' walk from Dublin Castle, where the Pope meets Irish Taoiseach Leo Varadkar on Saturday afternoon. Among those present were Maria Angalika Fromm, 67, from near Frankfurt in Germany, who said she had worked for 50 years for a changed church and urged Pope Francis to persist with his reforms. She added, "He needs to break down the patriarchal structures and be open to women's ordination without celibacy and caring for all people including gay and lesbian." He has to go on and not be stopped by the old conservative men in the Vatican.Eddie McGuinness, 49, an organiser of the annual Gay Pride Festival in Dublin, said he wanted the church to welcome LGBTQ people. The Pope asked for forgiveness, but let's show forgiveness and embrace the diversity of all families. He added, "It is about love, so why not embrace the teachings of Christ? Men cannot do this on their own, they need women behind them, and they need the LGBTQ community behind them as well, and that is what we need to embrace." The Pontiff will witness a country that has undergone seismic social changes in the 4 decades since the last papal visit in 1979, when John Paul II was lauded by a nation shaped by its relationship with an all-powerful Catholic Church. During his visit, some 1.25 million people turned out for his inaugural Mass in Phoenix Park, a third of the country's population, and the largest gathering in Irish history at the time. Around 100,000 people are expected to line the streets of Dublin city centre on Saturday afternoon as the Pope passes through in his famous Pope-mobile. In the evening he will join 80,000 pilgrims at a musical festival in the landmark Croke Park Gaelic Athletic Association Stadium. On Sunday the Pope will fly west to County Mayo, where he will follow in the footsteps of John Paul II and take part in a religious service at a holy shrine in Knock. He will then return to Dublin for the closing centrepiece of the World Meetings of Families event, an outdoor mass in front of an expected congregation of 500,000 people. The Rainbow Choir is made up of LGBT singers and is protesting the event against the exclusion of gay people and their families. Among its supporters are Maria Angalika Fromm, from Germany, who has worked for 50 years for a changed church and said the Pope needed to persist with reforms. She said he needs to break down the patriarchal structures and be open to women's ordination without celibacy and caring for all people including gay and lesbian. He has to go on and not be stopped by the old conservative men in the Vatican. While the Pope will receive a warm reception from the thousands of pilgrims who have traveled to be part of the occasion, he will also be met by protesters angry at how the church dealt with multiple clerical sex abuse scandals that have damaged trust in the religious institution and seriously weakened its influence on Irish society. Irish abuse victims and their supporters were expected to hold a solidarity rally on Sunday in Dublin. At the same time, Francis is celebrating his final mass to close out the family conference. Separately, survivors of Ireland's mother and baby homes, where children were exiled for the shame of having been born to unwed mothers, are holding their own demonstration Sunday